Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you another project recipe. This one's for the holidays, of course, and this uses a paper collection that came out last year at the holidays called Joy to the World. And we also got our cute little holly punch that came out last year with Joy to the World, and it is used in the project recipe, so I've got that out here too. But you could use any embellishment that makes you happy for the purposes that this is used for. So if you have something in your stash that you like, go ahead and grab it and you can use that too. I have 2 pieces of navy cardstock that are going to be our basis for this project. And then I have 3 pieces of designer paper. 2 of them, according to the directions for the project recipe, they recommend you use tone-on-tone papers for 2 of them, and then the other one can be a designer double-sided sheet. I have pulled these papers, a couple of them from Joy to the World that I had left, and then the others are from my other collections of Christmas. So they may not all be in a Joy to the World paper pack. But so just know that, but they should work, and we're going to see how this comes together. I think it will be fun. So this is our project recipe. This is the layout that we are going to work on today. And right now, all you need is your trimmer to get started. We're going to cut several pieces and get this going, okay? So let me just go ahead and grab my trimmer and we will get that started. So this is the order that we're going to do this in. We're going to grab, I'm going to use this polka dot red piece for this green, the piece represented by the green here in the upper corner. They recommend dark green cardstock for that one, but I am changing it up a little bit, so just bear with me. So we're going to go ahead and use this red sheet, and we're going to cut an 8.5 by 8.5 square. So just measuring out to 8.5. We're going to cut this long ways. So we have a 3.5 by 12 piece, which we will use. And we're going to turn this to 8.5 to make our square. And then this piece down here we can either use to punch designs with, or we can set it aside and use something else. So I'm just going to set it aside for now, and we will decide that when we get that far. Alright, so here's my square. I'm going to just tuck that under here so I've got it handy. Going on to my next sheet, the peach represented sheet right here. That is meant to be a tone-on-tone. And I'm using this one that has the holly berries with the navy background. And it has mostly green on the back with a sort of lined version of a Christmas tree on the back. So the back side is directional, but what we're using it for, I'm not going to worry about the direction, because we're going to be folding this paper, and it's going to be a border. There's just a lot going to be happening with this sheet, so I'm not too worried about which direction it needs to go. So I'm going to cut this make this first cut at 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to take this piece and turn it horizontal, and I'm going to cut 4 2.5 inch squares. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then this extra piece is just extra, so set it aside. These 4 squares just make a nice little pile. We're going to have some other squares joining them in just a second. Alright, so then next we need to cut 4 strips that are each 1/2 inch. So here we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we're going to stack those. I'm going to stack 2 at a time just because I don't want to have to worry about them shifting too much on me. And I'm going to trim these to 9.5 inches long. So 9.5 is all the way out here. Oops, I want to make sure that I've got both of my pieces to 9.5. There we go. Okay, so there's 9.5. These pieces are extra, so just set them aside. I have a sticky spot on my trimmer. I'll have to clean that with some alcohol wipes. Okay. Find myself hurrying up trying to beat that arm falling down on top of my paper and locking it in place. Okay, so there's my 4 9.5 by 1/2 inch strips. Then I'm going to use the remainder of this sheet, and I'm going to cut a strip that is 3 inches. This piece can be set aside for use in another layout. And I'm going to turn this and cut 2 pieces at 4 inches. So 1 and 2. And then this piece is extra as well. All right. Now, one more piece. We need to cut our piece that represents the blue right here for our tone on tone. And this page also, we don't need to worry about it. Its directionality, it's going to be turned sideways, and so it's not going to really matter which way you have it. So that's a 2.5 inch strip right here, and we're going to cut 4 squares. So 2.5 and 2.5. There's 2. 2.5 again, 3 and 2.5 again, is 4. Okay, and then these I'm going to add to my little pile of squares up there. Now I'm going to cut another one at 2.5. We need 3 more 2.5 inch squares of this one. So 2.5, we're going to cut 3 more 2.5 inch squares. 1, 2, 3. Okay, setting those up there. That piece is extra. Then I just need 2 4 by 6 mats, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a strip at 4 inches. That piece is extra. Turning this, I'm going to cut it in half at 6 for our 2 4 by 6 inch mats. Okay, now we are done with our trimmer. So go ahead and set your trimmer aside. And we're going to go back to our directions page. And the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and grab that stack of our 2.5 inch squares. All right, I'm just going to kind of consolidate this just a little bit so we have everything together but off to the side. Now, each of these squares we are going to fold. So if you are comfortable finding the center, folding these 2 corners together and finding your center, and doing that by hand, then by all means go ahead and do it by hand. But as I'm now remembering, I am more comfortable using my scoring blade on my trimmer to go ahead and make sure that these folds are crisp and right in the right place. So I'm going to, first of all, make I want to find the center, and I believe the center is approximately 1 inch, but I'm just practicing just to see. Actually, it's not a full inch. All right, so we need to go 7/8. We need to put these 2 points at 7/8 to be able to make this fold where it needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to turn my square. I'm going to put my point at 7/8. I'm going to put this point halfway between so that it is at 7/8. And I'm going to score. Remember, when you score, you don't push too hard, you just push hard enough that you crease the paper, and then I can fold that and it will meet in the middle and be just perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do that with each one of these. If you don't want to watch, you can go ahead and find something else to do and come back. Actually, you know what? I'll just edit. And then you can flash forward to when we're finished with this process. Okay, another quick way to go ahead and do your scoring is by utilizing this 45-degree line that you have on your trimmer. If you have the CM trimmer, you've got that 45-degree line, and you're going to put the outside edge of your square on the 45-degree line, and then the point right here is going to be at your 1/8 of an inch mark between your 2 grid lines. And if you line it up that way, then this point down here will be in the perfect place. So you don't have to worry about whether you have it straight or not. That will help speed this process. All right. If you need to, just go ahead and pause the video while you are doing your scoring. But after you have scored, you're going to just go ahead and make sure you fold all of these pieces in. There are other ways you can find the middle of your paper, so you can fold if you don't have the CM 12-inch trimmer to use. Just fold your square in half and then fold it in half again to find the center, and then make those outer points meet in at that center point, and you'll have your center, your points meet in just the right place. All right. Okay, so I almost have all these folded, and then we are going to adhere our corners down quickly. So we're just going to put a little bit of adhesive on each of these outer corners and then stick them down just like so. All right, so now we have all of our corners stuck down and these cute little funny little shapes. Now we're going to go ahead and place our layout the way we are going to have it together so that we can start adhering things. So bear with me a second. Let's get our base sheets out here where you can see both of them. Okay. just like so. Now, so we're going to use our red square in the center over here. And each of these pieces that we cut at 9.5 inches long, these strips, are going to go across or around this square. Okay? Let me set this over here so you can have that as a reference as well. This is going to go right here, like so. And then these pieces will go like so. Okay. You can flip this paper over and decide which side you like best, but that's essentially how that works. Then this strip right here is going to go up and down this side vertically. Okay. These pieces right here are mats, so I'm going to go ahead and move them out of the way just for a minute so that we can just work on our layout before we worry about mats. All right. Now, going down this side of our page, we're going to take each of these different squares and we're going to layer them. So we're going to start with the one that we have the most of. So the one we cut more squares of, that one goes at the top. Then we're going to put the next one. Then we're going to repeat the pattern. Just like so. This one. And then this one. Did I do that right? I'll do the, yeah. Okay. Now, I'm sure that you are wondering how we've got half, and we've got this one like falling off the edge. We will notice in our pattern the top one and the bottom one are slightly off. So this one right here is going to be in the center of your page, so that's the one we're going to adhere first. And then the other ones we can trim and remove that bottom triangle, which is going to be trimmed off slightly. All right. Now the other thing we're going to do, and let me just see here, I feel like I have the wrong amount, so maybe oh yeah, you know what, I'm mistaken. So this one that you have more squares of, this one we're going to use in these corners here first. So those go right there, and then we actually use the other, these are the ones in the center. I thought it looked a little bit not quite right, but it's been a while since I put this one together, so I apologize for that, but that's how we go. So the one that you have the most of is the one that you're going to use in these four corners, and it's the one that goes in the center between the other design. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere those pieces down. And I'm going to start on this side, so we'll get to this side in just a minute. But let's start with this side, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is just move my smaller pieces up, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my permanent adhesive, and I'm going to adhere, whoa, this piece down. You might notice the back of this sheet looks a little odd. Well, that's because rather than this side being a printed page, this collection had a letter to Santa, which was very cute and would be perfect in a young person's first Christmas, or whenever they're old enough to be able to write a letter to Santa Claus. That would be perfect. So this just goes about 3/8 of an inch from the edge. And then I'm going to have you take your base page and line it up on your grid. And then take your center piece right here. We're going to put adhesive on the back of this. I'm using my repositionable adhesive so I can get all the way out there to the tip. This is causing me angst. Okay. Sorry, my tape runner's just not acting right, and it hasn't been for a bit. Okay, so you're going to find the 6-inch mark, which for me is going to be right here. And I'm going to place the tip of this piece at the 6-inch mark and then make it straight and adhere it down. Okay, then we're going to do the pieces on either side of that. Just put your triangles in the middle, edge to edge, and your points on the outer edge, and work your way to the outside edge of your paper. Now when you get to the one that's going on the outer edge, just be careful. You don't need adhesive on this outside part. You're going to be trimming some of that, so just know that's why I use repositionable adhesive, because then you can just rub it off of any place where it doesn't belong, since we're going to be trimming that. Okay. See, there it goes again. There. All right, one more piece, and we will be ready to address the edges that are hanging off just a bit. Okay. So you can do one of two things. You can just take your scissors, flip this over and take your scissors or your trimmer and trim off that edge. And I'm going to use my trimmer. You could use your scissors and just cut along the cardstock, and then you know that you're getting it and it's straight. Or you can use your trimmer. Oh, I still have my scoring blade inside. Need the blade, the straight blade. There we go. So just cut off that little piece. And I'm going to just leave that triangle on there. On the example that our home office did for us, they took that triangle off. So, you know, you can do what you feel is best. I'm going to leave it on there because I like it. So at this point, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, so that this side is done, aside from our mats that we're going to put on and some embellishments that we will use in just a little bit. So I'm just going to move that again to this side. Then I'm going to come over here and approach this one. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just move these corner pieces off. They're kind of the last thing that goes on. And what we want to do is put this square on, and we want it to be centered, and it needs to be centered fairly perfectly. So we're going to put some adhesive on the back. There's that letter to Santa that I mentioned earlier. Cute, cute paper. Okay, and you can center this fairly easily by going ahead and centering your cardstock on your mat, and then using your mat to center your paper. So remember, this was 8.5 square. So I'm going to place my mat, or place it down here at about 1 3/4 distance from each. I think I need to move it to the right just a smidge. 1 3/4 distance, and you can measure it or eyeball it, whichever one you have faith in the most, but you need it to be 1 3/4 inches from the edge of your cardstock all the way around, and it will be perfectly centered. Okay? And once that is down, you are off to the races. So you can go ahead and you can flip this paper however you want it. I'm going to keep my keep the holly side up. I got my adhesive just a little bit off the edge, so let me just fold that over a bit. Hide that. There. Okay, so I'm going to place this right along the edge of my 8.5 inch square, and I'm going to just put about 1/2 inch off either edge, just like so. And I'm going to do my top and my bottom, and then I'm going to do both of my side pieces so that they can overlap the same, because you're going to have corners that overlap, but then your corners are also going to be covered by these cute little pieces that we made with our squares. So don't stress about it too much. I would love to be able to put this adhesive on super quickly, but if I try to put it on super quickly, then I end up with it in the wrong place. So, okay, so just right up the side. And doing this one. Okay. Love it when a plan comes together, right? Okay. Now we're going to take these extra squares that we have, get your repositionable adhesive so you can again do those corners without worrying about going off the edge. And then these pieces are just put on so they are flush with each side, and then they'll be in the right place. Okay, and see how they just go straight over that corner, so you don't have to worry about too much about how your strips came together, because they are covered. Adhesive is just really fussy, and I don't know why it's being so fussy this time around. Never had it do that to me before. Okay. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong one, but luckily I'm okay. My repositionable is just really not. Oh, I've reached the end. That's part of the reason. All right, I think I'm good where that's concerned. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. All right, so there are our 2 pages Let me just replace my adhesive very quickly. I've got another one right here in the drawer that I can pop in there. Okay, now we're going to just go ahead and grab our mats. So you can use either side of your mat. You've got both sides of this paper represented on your page, so whichever one you like best is going to be the one that I would recommend you use. I am going to keep with my tree theme because I feel like that's a little bit better than introducing this one. I think it will frame my photos a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to put one right here at the top. This other one goes down here at the bottom, kind of with the same distance between the corners of your paper and the edge of your border and your bottom of your page. And then this piece is going to be offset just a smidge right here, so I think I might want to lower that just a little so it's more centered. So put more like a 1/2 inch border. And you can make these edges of these, this photo and this photo the same, or you can make them offset. It's up to you how you like best to do it. And then this piece over here is going to be a mat that's going to be used over here on your square. And it can be used for journaling, or you can just use it as an embellishment square. And then photos will go here, 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 and here. And if you'd like the measurements of those photos, let me see, I can give them to you. So a 4x5 and a 4x3 will fit right here, 4x5 and 4x3. And then over here, a 4x5 would fit as well. Let me cut some mats for you really quick, and then that way you can use those to see better how what size photos will fit. Okay, grab my pen here. So this is 4x5, and it fits right here. Okay, another 4x5. And a 4x3 is what they've used. Oh, hang on, I did not press hard enough, so give me a second here. There we go. So this is another 4x5. We've got that up here. And then we've got a 4x3, so let's do 4. By 3, and that would fit right here. All right, and then these other photos on the other side are going to be slightly different than that. So we're going to have a 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Let's see what size I've got here. Oop, too small to use. Okay, but I could use this one, I bet. 3 3/4. Let's see, 2 3/4. By 3 3/4. 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, and that's the picture that will go in this mat right here. And then the other ones are going to be 5 3/4, which is different than my sheet I've got right here. So let me grab another sheet. Okay, so 5 3/4 is a measurement I have not seen as a photograph for a bit. So, and we've got 2 of them that are 5 3/4. So basically that's just trimming off a tiny bit of the edge of your 4x6 print, and on both sides, because you're going to have a 4x6, so you would just trim off about 1/8 of an inch on either side, or you could trim off 1/4 of an inch from one side, and you'll have the perfectly trimmed photo for this. So this is going to be 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, and that goes right in there. Again, this one is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that goes right in there. All right, so there are our mats. Let me go ahead and adhere this one down so that it's good to go. We're going to add some quick embellishments. You can use the embellishments that have been cut and are a part of the collection that you're using for this design, or you can use a punched embellishment, which is what we're going to use. And again, I'm just putting my mats down with my repositionable adhesive, because I don't know if I may need to move things around when I get the photos I'm going to use for this page. So just doing like that. I'm also using a repositionable adhesive because I've toyed with the idea of maybe selling some layouts that I've put together. And so let me know if that sounds like something you'd be interested in purchasing if you are, set on wanting to create your own, or if you might be interested in purchasing some that I've already put together. Because I probably won't use all the ones that I've put together. So so there is that. Okay, we're going to use our holly punch, and we're going to make some cute holly that's going to go down this strip and accent on this page as well. And you can see from our sample that's what they've used down the center here. I don't have green, I have red, and this is the piece that they, remember I said this piece you can punch your extra holly from. But because I didn't use a green piece for my center square over here and for this strip down here, I am going to branch out and use something a little different. So I have these glitter papers, and they are acid and linden free, so I'm just going to go ahead and use these, even though the green is slightly off. I just thought it would be a fun, different way of embellishing. So let's see how that looks. See if it's worthwhile, even though it's not the same color green. It does sort of pick up some of a similar color green in that Christmas tree paper I'm using. So that's kind of cool, I think. And since that's the paper that those are going on, that makes sense. I'm just going to punch a couple extras of these to go maybe over here. Could stick one down here. maybe up here in this corner. I'm going to need something for the berries though, so I either need to use a gem or I could use, I've got this red glitter paper I could punch and use as like a big berry in the center. I think for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go ahead and grab some gems and use them. Don't use gems very often, so I feel like this is an appropriate time to utilize some of them. So we'll just go ahead and grab our repositionable adhesive to secure that holly down. Just making my, so one of the leaves is a little bit larger than the other two. So just kind of varying that just to give it some interest so it's not always the exact same direction is what I'm doing here. Just turning it. And then I'm going to use this darker red as my center on my berries. I think that adhesive will be okay. If you find that you're using gems and because you're adhering it to glitter paper or something else and they're not sticking, then I recommend the CM Precision Point glue pen. It works really, really well for adhering gems and other things like that. So we can use we can continue using the same embellishments on this page, or we could use some of the stickers or die cuts from this collection, which if you remember this collection, this is the one that has the kind of the Christmas carol titles: Joy to the World, Let It Snow, Peace and Joy, which is not a song, but Oh Holy Night, Deck the Halls, Noel, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Here Comes Santa Claus, Making Spirits Bright. Those are all lyrics from holiday carols. So that's kind of a cool thing to use in a collection, I think. I thought it was really cool when they came out with that. So you could use that. You could use a cluster of flowers and maybe include some holly with it. You can make your own little display or spray of flowers, the poinsettia flowers, some greenery. Maybe stick this holly in there somewhere so that the greenery is consistent with what you're using on the rest of the page. That's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. We've got a white bow, we've got a kind of a teal color that matches the color in that, or I've got this other bow which is blue and matches the blue in that, or we've got red. Maybe something kind of like that, or with, I had a little sprig of some flowers. Where'd they go? I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did, but apparently not. No. Nope. That's okay. So basically we want something that's going to go here in this void, and we want something that's going to go kind of across our journal box up here. So I'm going, and then we want something that's going to go down here in this corner as well. So I think I'm going to use this smaller spray of flowers down here. It kind of matches the same flowers I've got up there. Maybe use my holly berries sticking out kind of both sides like that, so that I've got a little bit in each area. In fact, I really like that, so I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive there and stick those leaves on. You can go ahead and use your foam squares to pop this up if you want to, or you could just stick it down so that your photo is able to slide underneath that embellishment, right? Okay, then the other, up here, that other spray could include maybe that holly and maybe a sticker. What kind of sticker should we use? Maybe I'll be home for Christmas. I know I'll be home for Christmas. I don't know about you being home for Christmas, but so I'll be home for Christmas. We can add a stocking in there with the green. Maybe add a little bit of a red bow poking out the bottom. Kind of pick up the red in the door there. I'm going to add some repositionable adhesive to this so I can get that to stick. Guess it's not wanting to. Like so. Then we can add that kind of across the bottom, right there. I'm not going to put adhesive on the bottom because that's could interfere with my photo that's going underneath, which I don't want to have happen. So I'm just going to stick that down. If you are popping this up with foam squares, which you certainly could do, then you wouldn't have as much of a worry because it'll be lifted up off the page. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to put this one together somewhat like it is. Let's see if I can get it to go together that way. Let's see if that'll work. Since this is a just a cluster, I'm not worried about it impeding or getting in the way of the photos that I have on this page. I'll work around it. So there we go, we've got that. Now we just need to get this guy put down and I think we are good to go. And this guy is going to need a little bit of a holly berry as well. So we'll grab these little guys. We'll put a couple of them. Stuck on the side of my finger. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. I hope you're happy with that. And there we go. We've got Joy to the World all done. I hope you've enjoyed spending this time with me and getting this project recipe taken care of or put together for your favorite photos. And I hope that you'll join me again next time. Thanks so much, and until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Take care now.